Hello,
Okay.
Mr. Gheorghiu.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. Yourself?
Well, surviving, let's say.
Yes. Okay. We play again with Panno.
With Panno. Yes, Panno was a legendary grandmaster from Argentina, together with Najdorf. He was the best ever in that country. They had a very strong Olympic team and had a lot of good results during these years. And we had a very spectacular encounter right now between us. The very important tournament played in Sao Paulo in Brazil.
Okay.
So after c4, c5, I was with white.
Yes.
Knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, b6. This is a little bit unusual, but it's playable for black. You know, it's a special form from hedgehog. You know, we played a lot. Myself with white, myself with black, and so on. It was very popular in that time. So after BC, the move order is very important. You have to see now after e4, which is the best move for white, of course. Black, if he plays a little bit more careful, he has to play right now d6. After d6, white is always a little bit better, but it's not very clear, you know. Instead of d6, if he plays bishop b7, the game will be very sharp and clearly better for white in our game. You know. So he played bishop b7, and now white plays immediately e5. And now after e5, black has three moves: knight e4, knight g4, and knight g8. He played knight g4, but let's say if he plays knight e4, this is already a big mistake for black. Knight e4. Because after knight e4, white goes away with the knight in e2, and the next move is d3, and black is already lost after a few moves. He's in big danger to lose the knight.
There is no.
He has no place to go away with the knight, you see. And it seems that he can't save the knight because after h6, for instance, to lose only a pawn,
Yes.
if he plays now, white plays d3, he loses only a pawn after knight g5, fortunately. Yes. But instead of d3 immediately, white can play meantime h4 and you lose again the knight. There's no escape now. You lose the knight. After d3 next move, the knight is lost. You see, very quickly in the opening. So knight e4 is a big mistake, of course.
Yes, yes.
So if he has that, I mean, after e4, e5, he can play back to g8. But after knight g8, theory again.
Yes.
Knight g8, d4, white is better again. It's clearly better for white. Okay, so the alternative is knight g4, like in our game. Knight g4, the third move. But you see, already the game is a little bit strange after a few moves, you see.
Yeah.
h3, now after h3, has to go back to h6 because if he takes immediately in f3, he loses a piece at least. You take back with the queen and you attack the rook and the knight, and black is lost again, you know. So knight h6 is the only move, and now d4. It's clearly better for white again. After d4 he takes, you take with the knight, and g6 is the only good move to prevent bishop take h6, and you have double pawn, and the structure is very bad for black, you know. So, okay, g6. Yeah. Yes. Bishop f4. Knight c6, and now a very good move, retreating the knight from d4 to f3. Now the advantage, the edge for white is clear. White is clearly better in this position. You know. Knight f3. But move order is very important. Knight f5, of course. Now, queen d2, again, is very good move. It was not good to play d4, g4, for instance, instead of knight of queen d2, because after g4, he could play knight d4, and black is okay. He's not lost anymore, because of you are pinned on the big diagonal from b7, h1, you know. So queen d2, rook c8. Okay. So now you play quietly bishop e2. Yes. Bishop g7, rook d1, and now black has to decide what to do, you know. And he found a move order which is not too bad for black. I mean, he can hope to hold the position somehow, you say. Knight a5, he's attacking the c4 pawn. You have to play b3, of course. And now he has time to take in f3, you take with the bishop, and now he comes back with the knight in c6, attacking the pawn from e5. Now, if you try to protect the pawn with queen e2, white doesn't have anything because of knight d4, and black is okay. You know. So now the best move is to take immediately in c6. But like this, black had the possibility to trade two pieces. He is worse, but by trading two pieces, he can hope the position somehow will be, he can equalize
Close.
somehow, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not clear at all. Now queen e2, now has to play queen c7, of course. No? So now castle, no? And now the first surprise, the move g4. After g4, the game is already very dangerous for black because knight h6 is bad. He loses a piece after knight h6, queen e3 loses a piece.
So
Yeah,
here,
he goes back to h6, it's bad. Yeah, yeah.
because of
Queen
this?
e3, yeah, he attacked twice in h6 and he's lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only move is knight h4. Now bishop g3, and right now he observed that in this position instead of g5,
Yes.
he thought probably that it's possible here to play bishop takes e5, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The idea was bishop takes e5, bishop takes h4, bishop takes c3, and black is all right. Like he doesn't lose anymore, you know.
Yeah.
But the big surprise was that white can take in e5. Yeah, so you put back the bishop in g3. Yeah, and right now he can take in e5. You take with the queen, hoping that after queen takes e5, knight f3 check, and you recapture in e5. Yeah.
Yes.
But after king g2, knight takes e5, f4, he loses the knight in the middle of chessboard. The knight is lost, so he can resign here. Yeah. So if this was possible, he's forced to play g5. But after g5, the game is already, much better for white. So now we play e6, a very good move. Bishop e5. With the same idea. If you take in e5, the combination that I told you before is possible for black, he doesn't lose the knight anymore in the middle of because of the square f4 is protected from the pawn from g5. But now we have time to play rook d7, and now the position is very bad for black. So he sacrifices the queen, but it's not enough. He's forced. The sacrifice the queen is the best move, but it's not enough for black. It doesn't have enough counterplay. So now you take in f7, that's the best. And now after knight e4, you look at the position. He has rook and bishop against queen, but white has a very strong initiative, and later on by tactical threats, white will be much better, and will win convincingly. So after knight h6, c5 is good. You fix the queen side. Now the best move is b5, of course. And now knight g3, a very strong move. After knight g3...
So why is this one the best move? Because you don't want to...
Because if you don't fix the position, you have another possibility on the queen side also, after queen c4 or queen a6, and it's too much for white, and a very big advantage, After rook c1, you're attacking the pawn from c5 and from c6. The advantage is very big for white, So the only hope was to fix a little bit the position. Maybe you have a small hope to limit
the movement.
The movement from white pieces. So after knight e5, bishop e5, he has the same pseudo combination. You can't take in e5 because knight f3 check, of course.
Yes.
But now after knight f5, if he takes back in f5, you take in e5, and this is, very clear advantage for white. So the only move to go back. Now f4, rook e8, of course, queen e6. Yeah. And now
he resigned here.
He resigned. It's impossible to move something. Yeah. You are attacking you want to take in G5, you want to take in C6, you want to take in H6. Much too much. No? Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a very spectacular game, but in my opinion, the game was more or less decided a few moves after the opening. After the opening, White had already a very big edge. So later on, you had the result.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gheorghiu.
You're welcome.